Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to GoMonkeyKing's channel, and today we're gonna write a full-blown web scraper that would fit the single line of Python code, and we would be writing this entire scraper using the SCRAPY shell. So make sure you have the Python and SCRAPY being installed in your local environment in order to being able to follow this tutorial actually. And now let me say a couple of words regarding what exactly we would implement in this, the only single line of Python code. So we will scrape the data from this property cards, extracting the title and then address and description and this date, title and the price, yeah. And also we would crawl through I don't know, from 2, 3, 5 pages, doesn't matter. So we will handle the pagination as well. We could have actually crawl all the 42 pages available here, but that's not really the point here. It's just I just want to show the pagination here as a proof of concept. And again, just to bear in mind, the only single line of Python code would be involved here. So if you're excited, let's actually start. So here I have Linux terminal being open in the current working directory of desktop, and by simply typing SCRAPY shell, I invoke my SCRAPY shell. Okay, and now you might wonder how on earth is that actually possible when we need at least 2 lines of code. Say first one to fetch the response, and say in the second line we could have theoretically work with that response, but I would like to show you a method how you can actually fit the only line of code. And also I forgot to say that eventually at the very end of this video we will write our data set being obtained from crawling this site to JSON files. So let's actually start. So the very first thing to consider, so here I've specified index equal to 0 just to handle the pagination, so it would be equal then to 24, 48, etc. So just to fetch some new data from rightmove. Okay, so I just copy this sort of a page to obtain the URL, and now by simply typing fetch and specifying this URL, we're making an HTTP GET request and getting the 200 response, which is okay. So perfect. And now you might wonder, we need another line to reference the response, but it's not really the case. So we just try to do literally the same, but here if I enclose the entire line within the square brackets, so literally we're creating the Python list here, and I can reference the response object right over in here, and then the fetch method here would be the second part. So if I say like response.text just to prove that this is actually possible and hit enter, you see like we did make this request and also we did print the entire response, but obviously we're printing the return value of the fetch method, which is not really which is not essential here. So we can limit this list to the very first index to reference the very first element, so just the bare response. So this is kind of stuff that we're supposed to be working with. And now within this response part, we don't actually really need the text, but instead first of all we need to loop over the list of the cards. So I already have my developer tools being open here, so you see this like kind of property card wrapper available, and we need to loop over all the divs with the class of property card wrapper to be able to recursively scrape data from every single card later on. So let's try to implement this as well. So I say response.css, and now we're looking for a div with a class equals to property card wrapper, and now they should have given me the list of selectors, and we got this list of selectors, and this is just fantastic. So from now on we can actually try to make use of the list comprehension in order to loop over every card within this list of the cards. And remember that the card variable would be the type of Python selector, so we can recursively extract data using card.css and so on. So I can say for card in this list, and here I would like to have actually some sort of a Python dictionary to store the data regarding every single card within this dictionary. And also just as far as I'm limited to the only line of Python here, I can't say like import JSON to print the entire data set, right over in here. So but I can inline the print here, so at least I would be printing the data regarding every single card from the new line, and I could add a couple of new lines to make it more user friendly, pretty printed. So I would like to say like print, and also here I would just probably remove this print statement later on. So this like and let's see what we got. So here we got our dictionaries that would have contained some data regarding every single card in particular right over in here. So from now on we can actually start extracting our data. So the very first thing to consider would be to try to extract the title. So the title would be equal, now we can reference, as I already mentioned, we can reference the card, so I can say card.css, and now we need to pick up the right selector to scrape our title basically. So let's have a look at, so this is it basically. We got this h2 class, h2 tag with the class of property card title. So let's try to consider that as well. So here I would like to say h2 and then the class equals to this property card title. So we want to extract the text and we want to get the only element. So let's have a look. Okay, perfect, but it would be nice to strip this string just to avoid using this nasty new lines and things like that. So let's try to strip this as well. Okay, and after this get I would like to say dot strip as well. So yeah, now this is way better actually. So we got our title. So the next thing to consider would be it would be nice to extract the property link just to get the details regarding every single card. Okay, so let's try to provide that functionality as well. So here after strip I can say like comma and specify the second element. So let's call this URL, simple and straightforward, and here I say card.css, and here I'm looking for an a tag with a class equals to property card link, and I want to extract the attribute of href, and I also want to get one, so right here, right? And let's have a look. Okay, so it seems like we did extract our URL as well, which is just fantastic. So let's move on actually. Now the next thing to consider would be try to extract this address. So we got this meta with the item prop address country, which we would make use of. So I just copy this stuff here, and okay. I'm just wondering where these nonce are coming from, but this happens from time to time basically when we're dealing with a Python console or SCRAPY shell, which is some sort of a Python console as well. So let's now add our address. So here after getting this link we can say comma, and here we specify the address, and here we can say card.css, and we're looking for the meta tag and item prop address country, right? So meta tag and the item prop equals to address country, and we need to extract the text and get single element. So I hold my breath and let's try to have a look what we got here. Okay, we don't seem to get our text. Well, yeah, that's because probably we can't do this via the meta tag. So let's go slightly different way. Let's try the address tag and this sort of a class, and then I will show you one little trick. So okay, so let's get back to our address. So let's, instead of meta, let's use this address and paste and class, and we would like to extract all the text recursively and get all actually, and then we would pick up the particular index of the resultant list to fit exactly the address. So let's try this again. So okay, it seems like we do have our address, but this seems to be like this is the last element, so this should be like index -2, and we should match the exact we should match exactly our address string there. So here get all. Okay, so as far as this is the list, let's try to -2 here. Okay, perfect. So now we do match our addresses as well. So let's move further on here. The next thing to consider would be we would try to extract the price actually. So let's try to inspect the price element here. So we got this. Okay, so div class property card price value. So let's consider this one. Copy. And again, so now we will add one more element right over in here, just after this address here. I would say price, and the price would be equal to card.css, and we're looking for a div with a class equal to property card price value, and we want to extract the text, and we want to get one element. So let's have a look. Okay, perfect. Now we got our prices, but also you see like this unnecessary spaces, so it would be a good idea actually try to strip that sort of data. So if I just try to make this again, so price value right over here, oops, sorry, so price value, okay, dot strip, and this time it should be way better. Okay, so we did extract our price as well. Okay, so we got title, URL, address, price. Also, it would be nice to get some description from here, so let's try one. Inspect. Okay, so description, span, item prop, description. Well, let's try this span, and then we'll just try to scrape the data recursively, or well, we'll see. So description, span, item prop. Okay, so let's go for this as well. Okay, okay, so here we did end with a strip, right? Okay, so comma and description, and it would be equal to card.css, and we're looking for what kind of tag? Span, right? Span. Okay, and class equals to, oh, it's not a class, it's item prop, I'm sorry, item prop equals to description. Okay, and we also want to extract the text, right? And I want to get, well, actually let's try, well, first let's try to get the text recursively because it's located within the nested span. So let's try this as well. Okay, so description, a stunning Holland Park. Yeah, perfect. So we got our description here as well. And the very last thing I would like to scrape here, so obviously I could have scraped way more, much more data here, but just I don't know, like we could have actually scraped this sort of a data, but again, it's like it's not the real world project, and I did lots of rightmove real world projects, so you can see them on this channel as well. So let's have this added date as the very last element here. So span, property card, branch summary, add it on. Okay, so branch summary, edit on. So let's consider this one. So just want to copy. Okay, and I just called this date apparently. So let's have a look. Okay, so let's add another element, and call this date and card.css, and we're looking for, is this a div tag? Yeah, it seems like. So div with a class equals to this one, and I want to extract all the text recursively. Okay, this like, this like, and I want to get all the text, and also I want to join this by so hold on a sec, yeah, right over in here I want to join this to convert the list to a string, basically join by let's consider this sort of a character. So hold my breath and trying this. Okay, so we got our date. Okay, so it would be also nice to strip every single element there, I guess, added on. So we just don't need this, or okay, we probably can. Let's try to strip the very, okay, or hold on a sec. So let's try to remove actually this new line and tabs. That would be a way better idea, I guess. So here after get all, so we did join, and here we can replace and new line followed by tab, replace with a nothing there. Okay, so now it's much better. Okay, still we don't really need the very first index, right? And we don't really need the very last index, so I can limit the list appropriate respectively there. So here before this get all, so get all, we don't need all the elements, but let's slice the very first element and the very last element as well, so this should work. Okay, add it on by, okay, and I guess, so hold on a second, yeah, we'll probably do have some we have some unnecessary data there as well. Okay, so let's go slightly bit different way. Okay guys, so this is gonna be slightly bit complicated, but I don't really want to make it this like way, because it's not really that kind of proficient way of doing things. So let me just try to get rid of this replace stuff here. I would basically now try to get all. I would basically now try to rewrite this completely, and you will see now why actually. So let's first just try to print this get all here. Okay, so we got this like elements. Okay, and now we can actually yeah, so we could have so yeah, let's actually filter this list, and then so we will be replacing these elements, okay, first, and probably we could have done this in two ways. Okay, so I'm just wondering what's the better way. Okay, so okay, let's try to make use of a list comprehension here, and starts right over in here. So let's say for text in this list, and for every textual value I would like to say text dot replace, and oh, hold on a second, can I simply strip every element? Will this give me, is this gonna give me an empty elements? Okay, it does give me the empty elements, which is fantastic. So from now on I can actually simply strip them. Okay, so as far as I can strip them, yeah, this is really nice. So here I would like to say like list and filter and none. Okay, and now right over in here this like, Okay, so now we should have only the text. Okay, and now we can join this by empty string. Perfect. So let's try to join this by empty string as well. So okay, so empty string dot join. Okay, and now right over in here this should work. Okay, added on by okay, I'm just wondering. Oh, I've stripped that as well. So let's try to join by the empty space instead. Seems like I've stripped the space a bit before by word. So let's make it this like. Okay, edit on this date, kind of by night Frank. Okay, perfect. So this is kind of our data set being already extracted. So we there left kind of two things here. So the first thing would be actually to crawl the multiple pages, and then as far as we will obtain the list of this sort of cards, eventually we would need to write this to the JSON file. So let's actually try to implement our pagination. And just before we proceed, guys, well, I just wanted to actually store this string in case if I will just misclick something and it would get and I will just ruin this. I don't really want to spend time making this from scratch again, so just create a new document here and try to save this kind of string. Okay, and save. So just to back up my job here. Okay, so now we can actually kind of move on here. So pagination. So here we do have kind of the single instance of this of page being crawled. So let me go to the very beginning. So I want to enclose this with another list, and this list would serve for a pagination loop. So the first element is actually what we kind of got here, and now we need to loop over the range of the pages. So I could say like for page in range and from 0 to, well, let's say 4, so we would crawl for 3 pages at the very end. And here, instead of the 0, I would need to say like plus and stringify the page, and not the page itself but multiplied by 24. So at very first the index would be equal to 0, because 0 multiplied by 24 would be 0, and then it would be 24, and when index would be 2 it would be 48, and so on. So we will crawl through 3 pages right over in here. So actually I'm just wondering, and within this list, yeah, we probably I guess the outer list would contain all the data we need. Okay, so let's hold our breath and try to run this. So it seems like, yeah, so we're crawling through the pages now. Perfect. And so there would be 24 multiplied by 3, actually 72, right? I'm not good in math. Okay, so at this moment in particular, well, at least I think so, that this list actually is the list of dictionaries that we need, and this means that we can, from now on, we can actually write this entire list as so first probably we would need to stringify this. I guess we can really as far as we are limited to a one-line scraper. If I could have made use of JSON, that would be really fantastic, but I can't. So let's first try to actually stringify this, and I want to see if this would kind of work. Okay, so also I guess it's now time to get rid of this print statement, and this is gonna be a little pain, but still nothing to be done actually. So here I would like to get rid of this print, so get rid of this print, and now I need to go to the very end over in here, and I guess removing one parenthesis which regards to the print statement would be fine, would be nice. Or hold on a sec, this one, yeah, this one. So this did regard to the print statement, I guess. So let's try this. Okay, we're crawling. Okay, yeah, obviously we do have this not being presented that kind of nicely, and that's the reason. But hold on a second, guys. I'm just oh no, that I was thinking that we could have appended this to the file every time, but in this case it wouldn't really fit the one line with open statements. So yeah, we would be limited to probably kind of one liner here. So okay, so as far as we can stringify this, so let's enclose this with yet another parenthesis, and here we would say file dot write. Okay, and now we can simply say with open and open, and I want to store this to rightmove.json, and I want to write the file stream as file. So this should write the entire list to a JSON file. Well, I guess this would be really kind of one line string, which is not really that great, but still. So okay, guys, I just want to show you that I don't have this, how I call this basically, rightmove.json. I don't really have this rightmove.json file on my desktop, and when I now click enter, this should have crawled through 3 pages, and rightmove.json should have appeared. It seems like it does appear actually, and we have some bytes written. Okay, let's have a look at our rightmove.json, and I have no idea why this is so laggy. Well, that's probably because, yeah, it just yeah, just as I was already mentioning, it writes the file to a single string, which is not really what we need, but still kind of at least this does fit the challenge. This does kind of fit the challenge format. So as far as so let me just go to the very end here. So see, like, it's really, well, it's really hard to prove that this is actually the data we're talking about. So I will now just leave the list as is without touching it ever, but I would add just one more single line. I would say import JSON, and why I want to do this is just to pre-print this file using the indentation. So it's not already a challenge I've been talking about, so the challenge solution is right over in here. But if we want actually to pre-print this response, we need a JSON dumps method to pre-print the entire sort of list we are working with. So let's actually try to do this. So if I just say import JSON, so from now on we actually have 2 lines of code here. Okay, and enter just to save this. And again, so here instead of, so I guess, so we get this F right. Okay, so this parenthesis regards to the write method, right, and this one to the string. So here I would like to say indentation equals to 2 spaces, and here I would replace string with JSON.dumps, and this should have worked now. And okay, it's crawling through the pages, and did write some bytes as well, so I just hold my breath and try to see what we got in return. So reload. Yeah, this is really nice. Now we got our response being pre-printed. Okay, I'm just also wondering, we have this, why do we have some unnecessary list here? So we could have get rid of that as well. But in any case, we have a list for so the problem, the point is here that we have a list for every single page. Well, I didn't really intend that, but this at least this proves the concept I've been talking about. So we got a list, and then we got the pages. So this goes the very first page, okay, so this kind of page, okay, and then it goes the second page. So this is already different data, okay, and then finally goes through the third page actually. And obviously we could have used, we can actually get rid of this list, but I just wanted to show you them as a proof of concept. So in the real scraper, in the real spider, we would have probably liked to drop this and just to have the list of these dictionaries regardless of pages. So let's try to alter this slightly a bit. So let me try to see why exactly this is happening. Well, I guess we just need, so okay, so we have this list, okay, and every time so if I just try to so this stands for, okay, I'm not guys, I don't promise you anything, but I'm just wondering if I try to reference again the very first element. So as far as we did add one more list over here, this 0 element in theory this should match this sort of an index. So I'm not sure, but let's just kind of try this. Okay, run this again. Okay, and here we go. I'm wondering why so little bytes here, but okay. Yeah, for some reason we did. Okay, I'm just, the format is right, but oh yeah, so this is okay. Now we can do this like way. Okay guys, I'm very tempted to actually stop this tutorial right over in here, but this is extremely interesting, actually try to solve this still. So let me just try to rewind to the last kind of working version here. Okay, and reload. Okay, so another idea of how to do this. So you know, like when I was preparing for this tutorial, I didn't really come to this to this stage. So what we can try to do here, we can try to loop over, so make another list comprehension, try to loop over the this kind of list, and then for every element, so every element would be a list, we can try to return or hold on a sec, probably. Okay guys, I hope you will forgive me one little thing. So I just paused the video and try one little thing in the Python interactive shell, just to figure that out, if what I actually want to achieve is possible or not. So hold on and bear with me please. But even I can show you this as well. So let's try to create some list, and well, actually we can do this like so. Let's have a list containing 3 lists exactly, and every list, let's say it would be containing 2 dictionaries. And I guess we don't even need to specify the dictionaries, so it might be the variable number, right? So let's say this like, okay. So if we now try to loop over this list and say for item in this list and the item, so if we say like the type of our item, this should be a type of list because we're looping over these items, right? so item, yeah, it's a class of list. So I'm just wondering if here I would use a nested list comprehension, saying like let's say dictionary for dictionary in item. But again, so this so I do enclose this with this square brackets, which would give me literally the same result, right? So I can change some inner elements, but yeah, I guess I just can't get rid of this list. If I was doing this within the for loop, in that case, actually, I could have just created a variable like result and then just append in this. So here I could have append right over in here. I could have just say like results append d right over in here. But yeah, as far as I have the only one line, it doesn't really seem to be possible. So I'm sorry guys, it just already seems to be like the Python language limitation. So still I believe that, yeah, close terminal. So still I believe that this sort of line of code crawling through multiple pages within the right move and extracting the data from property cards is already yet enough impressive. It is yet impressive enough, basically, and I encourage you guys try to reproduce this sort of steps and try to achieve literally the same goal here. So this is incredibly interesting. I work with a SCRAPY shell this way. So this is it from my side. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and learned something interesting out of watching it. And basically, thanks for watching, guys. So until the next time, and take care.